Hello, so this is Logan Cromwell, and this is an anatomy of a scholarly article. So I'm going to be covering this. It's also an EDU page, so you can tell that it has some credibility. Presented here are the first and last pages of a scholarly article. Click on the highlighted areas of the article to learn about clues to look for when identifying scholarly articles. Kind of repetitive, but okay. It also says click here to anywhere to continue, so that's what we are going to do. Alright, now that we got that covered, let's get to the actual article. So the abstract is supposed to be more of a summary, a brief overview of what's going to be discussed in the rest of the article. It's not supposed to be too long, not supposed to be too short. It's just supposed to be a quick summary, kind of, just supposed to say what is going to be said in the article, but without all the evidence, without all the literary appeals. It's just direct and to the point. So yeah, sometimes it gets really confusing because it doesn't explain itself. So also with the way this one's written, I would give it 5 out of 10. It's pretty confusing the way it's written. Some of the words are very blurry where you can't really read it that well, as I'm zooming in here and showing you. I don't know, like, I might be able to read, like, is that, no, that's plausibility, and that's alteration. Object alter, yeah. So, if you just look here, you could see the quality that it's in, not the best for this article. So this abstract will tie in with the introduction, and the introduction is going to have a similar role, except it's going to start actually introducing quotes and some evidence to prove what was said in the abstract, which also both the introduction and abstract are supposed to tie in with the conclusion, which we're going to cover later. So this introduction seems pretty straightforward. I mean, they have a couple of quotes, which is appeal to both credibility and, depending on how the quote is, can be an appeal to another literary device. So, yeah. You can look here, and here, when you click on one of these articles, it comes up with an explanation of what the articles is, which I pretty much already gave you. But yeah, so it's pretty interesting. So this is what it says about the introduction. Intro to a scholarly article describes the topic or problem the article is researched. The authors will present the thesis of their argument or the goal of their research. The introduction may also discuss the relevance or importance of the research question. An overview of related research findings called literature review. Interesting, it's also called a literature review. May appear in introduction, though the literature review may be on its own. Okay. Charts, graphs, and equations. Okay, so this is important if you have any data that you need to, like, demonstrate or show. It pretty much covers this. I'd say it does this pretty good, a solid. Article text. Very, very long explanation of what this is, but essentially it's continuing what you started in the introduction. It's continuing to demonstrate what was being said. Conclusion, again, ties back into the intro and abstract, just finishing off what those two things were saying. It's supposed to be kind of another summary, somewhat, just even briefer than the intro, though, because the reader just read what was being said, so it's supposed to be even shorter. All that being said, this article has been pretty good. So it's an EDU article, has a lot of credibility because of that. It's education for educational purposes. Top of that, the format is pretty interesting. You click and it gives you a brief explanation of what's being said, as well as having initial article there. Oh, and references. I almost missed that. references is important as it goes over who the information was collected from. So it gives a credibility appeal, as well as making sure that the audience knows that you aren't BSing the entire thing. Very important. You need to put it at the end of every article in order to make sure that you have it covered. Also, another thing I have to point out, the different colors. Colors are very interesting. It makes every section very obviously as a different section, the highlights. So that is another point I'd like to give to this article. All in all, this article might have I would give it a 7 out of 10. It does its job very well as a anatomy of a scholarly article. And yeah, Sloan Cromwell, and bye.